Hi everyone, it's Mr. Barden here. This video is a follow-up to the most previously released video on the channel, kind of doing this little mini-series about making a few games from scratch, utilizing both sprites and sound, kind of the two last big units I've done in my coding class. My goal is to do a total of two different programs. The first one we have right here is kind of a remake of the Paint app that we do a bit earlier in the year. And the second one is going to be a version of Pong, I think is what I've decided on that. That may change. We'll see as we go. But again, part one of this little mini series was to simply make the base app, and that's all that we did in the last video. This one should be a little bit quicker. We'll see as we go. But real quick, I'm just going to go through a few quick things right here just so you can see there's been a few minor behind the scenes changes, but nothing that changes the functionality of anything in this sketch. So the first thing I've done, if you've come directly from that previous video to this one, is I've just gone through and added more comments that kind of break down everything we have here. Other than that, there are kind of two main things I've done. The first is, if you remember before, I was having to scroll down just to get to all the stuff underneath the canvas. I got tired of doing that, so I've just kind of shrunk everything ever so slightly, so that way it, stays on the screen without me having to scroll. So the canvas is, instead of 800 pixels by 800, it is, I know I just passed it, 750 by 750. I've made all of the little color selector sprites slightly smaller. That's pretty much that main change. The only other thing I've done a little bit differently is, if I scroll down to the draw function, I've basically taken the painting function and the functionality of changing the brush thickness, and I've just moved them into separate functions. That way we're not having to do it every frame of the draw function unless we need to. A little bit of modularity right there. So basically I've just taken where the code was and stuck it down below. It's all, draw and all of that is right here. If you want to pause and make sure yours matches, you don't have to. It's not going to change anything we do in this video, but now you can see, okay, if the mouse is pressed, we're going to look where it is, and if it's on most of the canvas, we're going to paint, and if it's past the edge of the canvas, then we're going to look at that slider, and that just has the slider values right there. It's pretty straightforward. I think that's really the only changes. Everything else is identical. I mean, we've got this big transparent sprite that changes colors to tell us what we're painting with. We can paint. We can make it thicker and keep painting. Woohoo! And we can export it. Did I not refresh my code? There it is. We can export it as a painting. I looked into ways to making these sprites disappear, but they don't want to. I feel like I'm missing something, or something has changed in an update. Again, the P5 Play library is under active development as I make this video, so things can sometimes randomly change. The only other thing, I'm just going to move this make sprites function down to the bottom here, because we don't really need it. I mean, we need it, but we don't have to look at it anymore. So that's all of that. What we're going to do now is add some sounds. And there's two main bits of sound that I want to add. The first is a few effects, and the other one is the just background music. So I'm going to start with the background music, I think. I've also organized this so it's just on one line. So we'll just say, we'll call this background music. And I'm going to pull up function preload. Right there, boom. So we're going to need this mostly for the audio files we're going to look at later, but for right now, we're just going to do all the sound stuff here. So, background music is going to be a new tone.fm synth, I think is the one I want to use. And for right now, we're just going to say .to destination. Just like that. In the following video for this, we'll play around with effects and general processing and automation and things like that. For right now, we'll set that up. So again, I've got the tone reference ready to go just in case something goes wrong. We're going to find the FM synth. And we can discuss a lot about FM synthesis. I'm not going to do it right now. We're just going to connect it up. We could control a lot of different things is the main reason I wanted to set that up. So if you wanted to, control different things, whether it be the envelope or other kinds of harmonicity and modulations and a bunch of stuff, I'm going to leave it on the default for now. There's a lot of things you can change in order to make this work. I'm just going to leave it as the default. Now for the melody, I'm going to pull up the textbook and I'm just going to steal it from that. I'll talk about how to build one of these. But let's see, sequences and scheduling. It's in this chapter, and I'll have a link to this page in the description as always. But I'm just going to pull that melody from the sketch right here. I'm just going to call it. Boom, copy that. Hop over, and we're just going to say let melody equal that. So again, just to briefly reiterate all of this from my previous videos, every element in this array is going to be a beat. And I've given this all as these are just musical pitches. Notice that we can actually embed an array within the array. I mean, this technically isn't new to this project. That's how I organized all the colors, was just putting little arrays inside of a big array. But what this will do is this will play however many notes you give it in the space of one beat. So rhythmically, this goes do 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 do, and it just repeats over and over again. So tick. Da 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 1 2 and a 3 4 1 2 3 and 4. You get the idea. That's how we're gonna set up a lot of this. So get the music, and we'll also need the sequence. Let's tidy that up a little bit. There we are. So that's the first one, the synthesizer. We're also effects and to come in the following video. I'm just going to leave myself a reminder so I don't get distracted with that. So we have that right here. Cool. I'm going to hop into the setup function, and I like to do the tone transport stuff at the very end after all the other things get made. So tone.transport .bpm.value gets assigned to be a number. So this is where, again, we're going to be creating a sequence that's going to run and do things every click of a internal clock. And the beats per minute is telling us how fast this clock is going to beat. How many, beats per minute. I'm going to pick something a little on the slower side. I'm going to go 40. So this is less than 1 beat per second. So it's like once every second and a third of a second, approximately. It's going to be real slow for that. And then we'll just say tone.transport.start. Just like that. So I'll have all of that right there. So we're going to make the clock. We're going to start the clock. You can't start the actual sequence until you start the clock. In order to make a sequence, again, definitely check out this page here. I'll break it all down, but I'm going to copy and paste a lot of this just to make life a little bit easier, and that way we don't have an hour and a half long video like last time. So I've already made an object for my sequence right here. I'm going to do this earlier up here. So we'll make the sequence after we make the canvas and before the other things. Doesn't really matter as long as it's done before we start, trying to do things with it. So it's a new tone dot sequence. And that's that. When you make a tone dot sequence, you need a total of 3 arguments, and I've got those listed right here. The first one is a function, which is all of this part, that tells the computer what it's going to do every tick of the clock. This is done as just an inline function with no name, and we're just going to say, hey, synthesizer, which I've called background music in my example. We're going to trigger an attack and release. We're going to play a note. We're going to get, from a note and they're going to last that long, that's all that's there. But we have to tell it where to get the note and the time values for this function, and that's what these other 2 here are. So the melody is saying, hey, get all the notes from the thing called melody, and it is. And then the quarter note is saying that, okay, every element in that array is a quarter note in this time, so it's 1 note per beat. Once you've got that, the only thing we need to do is start the sequence. Now, normally you would make a bunch of different sequences so you can change it all up, play certain things at certain times. That's great. We don't have different states in our program. It's just the program. So as the very final thing in my setup function, I'm just going to say my sequence dot start. If you want to have the music change and play different things, totally can. We just have to stop this sequence and start the other. So now I'm going to play this, and hopefully if I've done everything right, we should hear some background music. I'm going to make this a value of 1. Maybe we'll make this an 8th note instead. Slower as well, so 30. Really slow clock. Cool, whatever. It's a placeholder. When you're making yours, definitely going to recommend you make your own melody to go with the vibe you're going for, and that can be really anything, but this is how you would go about implementing that. Again, I just pulled this. If I was making this, for real or to release or to sell or for a class thing, I would definitely make a different one. For the sake of my sanity, I'm gonna remove this, so that way it doesn't play by default. So now it's technically playing, we just aren't connecting it to the speaker, because I don't want to hear that all the time. But if you have a different collection of colors, like they all generally have this same kind of warmer aesthetic, generally, I might pick a different selection of notes to accompany that. But it can be whatever you want. That seems a little loud to me. I know I'm going to want to control a reverb, but let's just say down here, BG music, and we should be able to control the gain. Volume, there it is. And it is a parameter, and it's in decibels. Okay. BG music dot volume dot value equals -6. So now we'll say dot, just to see what we have volume-wise. It helps if I can spell right. Let's make it just a hair quieter. That'll work. get rid of that so it doesn't play all the time. Okay, so we've got some background melodies going again. Definitely make your own on your own version. If my students are watching this and they just copy what I have in the example, they're not going to get points on it. So there's that. The next part I'm going to pull from the textbook as well, just mostly for the sake of time. And again, I'll have links to these two main pages in the video description, like I always do. But in the textbook, there's a samples for project thing. There's a whole bunch of different sound files that they're free to use for any real context. I tell my students you can pull up whatever you want from here to use, or you can go find your own, but that's your problem. So for now, I just want to have a sound effect play whenever we are drawing and whenever we are clicking and changing a sound. So let's look into that. I want a quick, short sound. Something quiet, ideally. It's probably going to be that third one, but we're going to look. Kind of like that. These are getting longer. Alright, let's go with this one. Just download it right from there. I'll open it. It's over on that monitor. Alright, so let's get this up and going. I'm going to hop over into my file editor. I'm just going to make a folder to control all of these. Audio. And then we're going to upload a file. I'm going to start with this one. Cool. And this is called perk_1. Cool. We'll just leave it at that. So let's get this going. Background music, sequence. I usually end up calling these multiplayer, but you can call them whatever. This is going to be the object that has all of our sound files in it. So I'm going to hop back into my preload function. Multiplayer gets to be a new tone.players object to destination. Just like so. So we can hear it. So we have to open this up, and using JSON formatting, just say what the file is, where to find it. So we're just going to call this select. You can find it at the audio folder / perk_1.mp3. We have that there. So that's most of it. We just now have to say when do we want to play the sound. Well, I want to play the sound whenever we click on the sound effect. So if we go to the part where we're changing that, I have it here. We don't want to trigger it in the draw function, though, because that's going to trigger it from the beginning every single frame that we're holding the mouse down. And it's basically physically impossible to hold the mouse down for a single frame. It's just going to be problematic. So I'll move it down below later, but we're just going to do it right here and say function mouse pressed. And we will actually do a similar thing, I think, to what we have here. So, if we say... Can I do it like this? If all changers.mouse.pressing... we're going to see if this works, but the command to trigger it is we just say multiplayer dot the specific player we want is going to start playback, and we're going to call specifically the select sound. So the way that I'm hoping this will work, we're going to find out, is if we click on any of the sprites in this group, then we're going to do this. And we're only going to check it whenever we click the mouse. So see, nothing's happening. And then we clicked it. I can only do that so many times. It's kind of fun. But now, that part's actually done and very, very straightforward. Cool. So that's there. To have something going on elsewhere, we can find let's find a longer file. Hopefully not something too loud. Not quite. Not what I want. I want something a little more relaxed, but I don't know what we get. What do we get here? That may be the one. One of these may be it. Ooh, here's some rhythmic loops. This might be. Maybe. Maybe I'm just trying to find some. I think this is going to be the one I pick, this bottom one. Nope. I like this one because it's longer. So I'm leaning towards that 23-second one now. Let's go to that 23-second one. Right here. Download. Boom, there you go. It's called Drip, Drip, Drip. And let's get it loaded in. Same process. I'm going to go to my audio folder, upload a file. It's over on this monitor. There it is. Cool. I want to rename this one because that's just a lot. Painting.mp3. Why didn't it like that? There we go. Hop back into my sketch, and we're just gonna load this up. Go here, comma new, and we'll call this paint effects, colon, where to find it, and we want the audio folder / painting.mp3. So now I'm just getting a little comfy. My foot was falling asleep. We just need to tell it to play this sound file when we start playing the mouse and stop it when we want to stop it. So there's a whole bunch of different things we can do. I'm going to hop into players here just to see if I'm missing anything. No, but it looks like it's in player. Yeah. Okay. So we just want to have this loop. So what we can do is hop under when the mouse is pressed. You can say if similar to what we have down here, we're going to have it respond to the mouse position. So actually, I'll have it be the same. They're generally the same ones. Let's say if, I'll do it manually here, if mouse X is greater than 80 pixels and mouse X is less than width pixels, let's say width minus 5 for the border there. We'll do that. And then we'll check and see if mouse Y is greater than 5 and mouse y is less than height minus 15, I guess. 15, then and only then will we say multiplayer dot player. I'm going to call this paint fx, that specific one, dot loop gets set to true. Copy, paste, start. And then on function on mouse released, then we will say stop. Tidy that up, save it. Let's see if working. This should be working now. So, excuse me. Before we had this already working, it was playing the sound effect whenever we clicked on our circular sprites. Now we want to see if whenever we click, it will play that sound effect over and over again. Actually, let's make it nice and quiet as well. So, and we'll say dot volume dot value equals negative 12 decibels. Save, run. That still works. And I mean, that's all that's right there. It's pretty straightforward. A few things to think about to make this yours and uniquely yours that I would highly recommend. Maybe have different sound effects for, clicking the button or adjusting the slider right here. Maybe different sounds when you click different colors. It could be a variety of things. I'm gonna, I think, end it with having a unique sound for the white one, because that one's intended a bit more for an eraser. So let's just find a unique sound. Let's do this one. Hop over. Same thing. We're just going to load it in, upload that file. Boom. Oh, I thought I dragged it. Boom. There it goes. Boom. Hop back into my sketch. Find my multiplayer. There. Nope. There it is. And this is the erase sound. You can find that in the audio folder /bubbles. This one has a capital B. I'm not going to bother changing it. .mp3. And now we hop down here to our mouse pressed, and we have that right there. So we're going to add a conditional into here. So if... I don't want to make this unique. I don't know if this will work, actually. Or at least very well, because we have to check and see if it's specifically this one. If it's done right... then we should say if all changers, but specifically the last one, which was... I make my loop. Made my loop down here. 13. Mouse.pressing Should be that. Then we'll play the erase sound instead. Else, we'll play the other ones. That one works. Actually, no, I don't want it when it's selected. I want it when it's painting and selected. So let's copy this and tweak it slightly, but we actually don't need the else there. Yeah, so we're gonna play the paint FX, but we'll actually say if color equals, can we do it like this? So it should be, let's try 2 equal signs. Actually, we'll make this a lot thicker. That's there. Okay. Because I forgot my else right here. Just tidy that up. The function itself. Just make sure this erase, and this will be the same, just with a different sound file. Want it thick. There's that one. I'm still not playing the second sound, so it's not there. If I do it like this, will it change? Nope. If I do it like this, will it change? No. Okay. So basically, we just need a way to look and say, hey, is it white? And we're setting current color. Where did that go? Yeah, it's just struggling to be what's inside of current color. Current color. Let's just do it like this. Okay. So we get a lot of stuff edit from the thing. So what if I do this? Okay. What if I did add that other one? Colored like so. Oh, wait. if I just said is equal to, if I did it like this. Sorry, I'm like thinking on the fly because I honestly didn't have much of a plan here. So we've got wherever it's happening. Or we had it before of whenever we clicked on that specific one. So what if current color is equal to all of the color changers, specifically number 13, then we'll play this, otherwise we'll play the other one. There's one. Still the same one. Well, I don't know why it's... And then if... Do that. Oh, wait. That's because I didn't look at the color property. That's at least part of it. There's the first sound. There's the second sound. All right. Cool. So last thing I did was just add a command for it to stop playing that sound. Normally, in a lot of cases, I would just say multiplayer.stop all. But because I don't want it to cut off the select sound, granted it's really small anyways, I'm not including it there. So I'm just manually saying stop basically everything but the other sound. So I think that's just about it. Like I said, this is a much shorter video than the other ones. So I'm just going to briefly reiterate what I've done right here. So I've added, in this case, 3 sound files and a synthesizer to the sketch. Boom. And you can see they're all there. There's a melody for the background music, which I do need to hook back up. There we are. Right there. So now we can actually hear the background music. Just set all the bits we want right there and loaded in the sound files. That's, all the things. We can now hear all this stuff. And then when the mouse is pressed is what we're using to trigger the sound effects. So I've got one playing whenever we click to change a sound or a color. It's the same one. It's fine. I've got another one that plays when we click and are actually drawing. And then when we click on the white color to erase, that's a different sound effect. So that's what we have right there. I'll pull this back down to tiny. So that's there. And then when we let go of the mouse, it stops the effect sounds. I'm going to move these down low. Put them with the other things. Just like that. Tidy all of that up. So that's where this video is going to end. And kind of the key things to take away are deciding, okay, what are the vibe you want? Write out the melody that you're looking for. Do 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 do. That's all this one is. I didn't really write it, but pick out what you want. Make it as fast or as slow as you want for what you're gonna make. For any things where you need to specify and then a sound happens, you got to think through that. So, okay, I want a sound when I click this thing, or when these two characters bump, or, when the scene changes. And then you got to find where that happens in your code. Sometimes you have to make it yourself. And and just say, hey, play this sound, or start this effect, or do this other thing. This is not going to be the only video on working with sound in this little mini series. The next one, which will probably come out a few days after I've recorded and posted this one, we'll talk how we can, utilizing the tone transport stuff and the sequences, how we can create different effects and parameters. And actually, I'm going to put that as a quarter note and this at 60. It'll have the same effect, but this tick will be a little bit faster, and that'll make life a little bit easier down below. Heck, we could even, if we wanted to have something be a lot more faster, we can make it a half note and make this 120. Same result, should be. Yeah. Yeah, so same effect, just, different things. We're going to stop that. Yeah, I thought that would work. So we have that there. So that's pretty much all of it. The next video, we're going to add some effects to control things like volume and of these different playbacks, some reverb, it may be maybe a delay, maybe a filter. I'll decide on what the third one is. But that'll come out a few days after this one. It may even be next week. Depends on how fast my students get to this point, and then we'll follow it up with that last little topic. So that's going to be it from me. Like always, I'll have all the stuff in the description, the various things we looked at. Like I said in the last one, though, I will not be posting this completed sketch in the video. However, that will come at the end of part 3, which will pop up and be available, after all my students have done the things for, grade purposes, and to avoid any less than honest temptations from things I give people. You can't cheat if I don't give you the opportunity to. And if a student goes through and is following along with the video and all that's fine. I just don't want them to just pull it up without knowing what or why we've done the things. But that's where I'm going to end this one, because I'm starting to ramble just a little bit, because I've been talking for 4 hours today. So yes, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, definitely like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and I will see you all the next time that I see you. Bye.